Welcome to the Unapologetically Prioritizing Peace video podcast channel, where we will discuss the revolutionary concepts of achieving success without sacrificing your well-being. I'm your host, Carla Hunt, CEO and founder of Prioritizing Peace. You can achieve your success without sacrifice. Thank you for being here. Let's get started. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button so you know when the next video podcast has been released. I would like to give a warm welcome to my special guest, James Wedmore. For the last 15 years, James has leveraged his expertise to help digital CEOs build and scale their online businesses through courses and trainings like his signature program, Business by Design, and other programs such as Sales Page by Design and Nail Your Niche. His motto is simple: work hard, play harder. So today's podcast theme is going all in on your business. I did something pretty crazy, and I put in my resignation, and at my full-time day job, I will be leaving that at the end of May. So my first question to you is, how do you know if you're actually being the digital CEO in your business or not?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a great question. And, I think of it like, I like to use metaphors a lot. And I think a great metaphor is any type of vehicle that you would use to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And even though most of us here probably don't have a pilot's license or we've ever flown a plane, I have not. In fact, I used to have a really crazy fear of flying for a long time, is that no pilot would ever take off in a plane without having their dashboard, without having the dials and little odometer things that give all the necessary and pertinent data that informs the pilot what his or her next move is. And so a lot of us we're flying blind. We are operating from a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear and a lot of like hope and a prayer. That doesn't feel good, and that's not fun. So the digital CEO, you'll know when you are in that role, when there is more clarity and certainty. Because something I've been saying for a really long time is everyone wants to grow their business, right? Everyone's talking about growing their business. But the reality is you cannot grow what you can't measure. So what are you measuring? And then who's responsible for those metrics? And then are you in that role where you're making your predominant responsibility, your predominant energy and effort is about how do I increase these metrics? And if I increase these metrics, then the business grows. Or are you being driven by your to-do list? Are you being driven by your text messages or your inbox or whatever DM comes into Instagram today, right? That is a reactive way that it will keep you busy. And I think that's very important to point out is I don't think anyone here would struggle with like, oh, I have so much time on my hands and so much free time. What do I do with all this time, right? Most people are completely overwhelmed. They've got way too much on their to-do list. And so it's not necessarily a busyness problem, but a discipline and a priority problem. And the digital CEO has that discipline and knows what to prioritize. They focus on their zone of genius, the metrics and activities that will grow the business. And they begin to let go, delete, or automate those that are not the high value activities, the things that don't really grow the business, that just keep you busy, that just keep you feeling like, man, I'm working really hard. I'm definitely staying busy, but are you getting anywhere? Are you moving the needle? Are you actually growing the business? Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes so much sense. Yeah.
Good.
I resonate with that so much because something else I've heard is like, just get it done 70% and then send it.
Yeah, we tend to be perfectionists. Mm-hmm. And perfectionism is a survival strategy of the ego. right? It's a coping mechanism to avoid rejection. Here's why. It's a mirage. It doesn't exist. Even I think it was Pablo Picasso. It's such a great. I hope it was Mr. Pablo, Mr. P, who said, "Great art is never finished, merely abandoned." And so perfection or perfect, to make it perfect or an attempt to be perfect, doesn't really ever exist because it's up to interpretation. It's up to opinion. Okay, perfect according to whom? According to me, according to you, according to them out there. And you'll always get someone who says it is perfect, where someone says it's not good enough. So you're always going to get the criticism. You're always going to say, here's what it could have been better. So if you make your business about, it has to be perfect before I put it out there, then you're saying, I'll never put it out there because I'm going to wait until something never happens before I pull the trigger. And so we want to eradicate all those perfectionistic tendencies and vocabulary at all costs. What the difference there is, the digital CEO has learned the language of numbers. And you don't have to be a math person. You get a lot of people saying, well, I love business and my heart's in it and all this stuff, but I'm not a math person. I don't like numbers. And, I give a little tough love, as you know. I don't care if you don't love numbers. It's driven by numbers. And it's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean it becomes robotic and there's no humanness and people in it. It's about performance, and you measure performance with numbers. So if I said, hey, let's get a landing page out there. Let's get an opt-in page, and we could play with it and see if we could make it better and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, Carla, it would be like, okay, did you send some people to it? How many people opted in? How well did it do? And you would tell me by giving me that conversion rate. Well, it's converting at about 25% right now. And so when we replace perfect with, is it working or not, things get a lot simpler. Things get a lot easier. I want to put something out there that works. In fact, this is 15 years of doing this. Most of my great ideas were awful and didn't work. And could you imagine someone who spends a year, 2, 3, maybe more of their life trying to make that perfect thing that in their mind, finally one day, hopefully is perfect. They put it out there and it doesn't work. It doesn't get traction. It doesn't get the opt-in. It doesn't get the click. It doesn't get the people to take the action necessary that you want them to take. And oh my goodness, all that wasted time. I've been there. I've done that. So what we look for is the things that we put out there is it effective? Is it producing a result? Because if we can get some result, we can improve it. And that's what it is. It is progress. It's 70% perfect. Is the bar, 100%.
I love that.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Unapologetically Prioritizing Peace video podcast with your host, Carla Hunt. If you have any questions or would like to suggest a topic, please email me